Gets open for three. Dagger!
The kick in, here it comes. Swing and a miss! And a World Series Game 7 winning Curly W is in the books.
Washington Capitals are the 2018 Stanley Cup champions. You like that? You like that? I like that.
You gotta like that, right? My approval ratings keep going up.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
You know, I've been staring at this hat for, I don't know, like the better part of the last couple of days. It's actually not terrible. Like, Commanders is better than, Commanders is worse than football team, right?
Commanders is worse than football team.
No, it's not. I don't think so.
The W logo and the seal that they did for the Commanders, not bad. Even the helmet isn't bad with the W.
I don't know. I just kind of like this hat, but you can't buy football team stuff anymore. Like,
where did you buy that from? Did you get that in Africa?
No, fool. I've had this. It was
that looks like a new era.
Yeah. It was the Ron edition, on field Ron edition. Yo, can we talk about Ron first? I have so much. We have so much to talk about. There's so much. How did Ron end up with a full-time TV gig now? What?
That was a tryout. It wasn't a full-time.
And then they had him on there talking about the quarterbacks and what he thinks the Commanders are going to do. The guy
He's just reading the teleprompter.
It's wild to me that this guy doesn't say anything ever.
The most impressive part is he didn't stutter. The way he stuttered during all his press conferences.
Listen,
he got murdered by the junkies this morning. If you listen to that, he got murdered by them.
Why? How he continues to find way. Like, I know people like him in general, and it's a good story. And yes, of course, like we don't wish cancer on anyone. Yes, blah blah blah. But like, the guy has no personality whatsoever. Like, why is he on TV? And 2 seconds ago, he was a PhD coordinator for somebody.
He's well respected in the league. I mean, he's well respected in the league circle.
By who?
I don't know.
Why? This is just a trail of tears everywhere he's been. Carolina's going to stink for 20 more years, and God help us here in DC. But
you know what's crazy is that his whole philosophy was, I'm going to build the team and then drop the quarterback in at the end. Right? We don't have a quarterback, and we have so many holes. He hasn't built anything.
Honestly, listen.
I mean, every position is a position of need.
We have to thank Ron Rivera that he kept kicking the can down the road on a QB, because seeing what Sean Payton did with Russell Wilson and how terrible that contract worked out, and seeing what the Browns are dealing with. Seeing what the Browns are dealing with Deshaun Watson. Okay. Seeing what the Giants are out on Daniel Jones after their giant contract to him. Thank God Ron Rivera kicked the can down the road and he didn't mortgage all our picks and just ruin our future and have us locked into something stupid.
Maybe he didn't mortgage all the picks, but I mean, who was Ron's best draft pick? Was it
I'm not saying
the guy who's about to be a free agent?
Well.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I don't know if you can pay him.
His inability is a blessing.
I don't know if you could. Well, he also rolled the dice and overpaid on Carson Wentz. He also tried to bring in.
That wasn't devastating, right? Like, that's the main.
The
main point.
Wentz, they traded. They gave up. They overpaid
1 year contract. 1 year contract.
They overpaid for him, and I think they gave up picks too. Didn't they give up picks?
It was devastating, but something that you could get over quickly, right?
Look at the Russell. I want to talk about it. The Broncos are paying Russell Wilson $83 million over the next 2 years, and he's not even
honestly.
Like, I mean, that's a disaster. We got penalized $36 million with the Mike Shanahan, Bruce Allen, whatever, right? Yeah. How devastating was that to the franchise for years?
That's true.
What is $83 million gonna do to the Broncos?
Yeah. Well, and if you're Russell, you're gonna get your money, but like, how do you salvage your career at this point? I mean, I know the popular opinion that maybe he goes to the Raiders, maybe. But I don't
Raiders, Steelers, Giants. He can go anywhere because all he needs is a 1 year contract.
I don't want to see him in a New York Giants uniform. I'd rather see him in Atlanta. If he goes to the Falcons, then maybe the Skins have a shot at landing Kirk. Maybe that's still my outside hope here. Is that we find a way to trade down and get Kirk, but.
He's already visited the Giants and now going to the Steelers, so it's probably going to be one of those two teams.
It's probably
the
Steelers.
The word from Pelissero this evening was that Kirk was going to make his decision early in the week. All signs are pointing to Atlanta there.
What would you do if you were Kirk? Would you stay in Minnesota where you kind of have a good thing going? And in a dome. Like you don't necessarily have to deal with terrible weather, or do you roll the dice and go to your third team? I mean, this is probably his last big contract. So
Yeah, I mean, he also doesn't. I don't think he cares to win a Super Bowl. He cares to be highly compensated. I don't think he wants to be at the top, but he wants to be well compensated, and he wants fully guaranteed money.
Yeah, I mean, Kirk
And
is
he's
looking
gonna
out for
go.
Kirk.
He's gonna go to Raheem, where they're part of the Mike Shanahan tree, McVay tree, whatever you want to call it. Like it's a coaching staff that he's familiar with. I think it's a done deal to Atlanta, and I think he'll be fine there. Like he'll win 8 to 11 games a year, and he'll
I don't think
bust
that
in the
roster is good enough
playoffs.
for
I'm
8 to
gonna
11.
That roster is
I'm gonna
good,
say
man. That
something.
roster's
They got Drake London and
Kyle
Bijan.
Pitts.
No,
And,
don't
and
talk to me about
Pitts.
Pitts. Don't talk to me about Pitts. Whatever.
Listen,
You
I mean,
I'm gonna
he had
say
he
I'm
had
gonna
Arthur
take a.
Smith. He had Arthur Smith as his head coach and OC, right? Arthur Smith is a dinosaur. He runs the ball 65 times a game. He gave Kyle Pitts no chance to ever succeed.
Well,
So
look,
now
I
he's going
mean,
to a he's
I
going to
know
go
if
to a
he's trying
team.
to get in here, but look, if the Skins got the report card, was it last week or the week before? I don't exactly remember when. Like the FP, we were talking about it offline, right? Like the treatment of families F, locker room F, training room F, training staff F, weight room C,
yeah.
strength coaches somehow A. But I think that's because of the guy that was pumping him full of steroids that got arrested. I don't know, but
Who's
like,
their plug, baby? Who's their
but
plug?
it is. I mean, what if you had to give it a percent chance that Kirk returns to Washington, D.C., right? Looking at this roster, just zero, really? 0%.
Zero.
Yeah.
Zero. Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
okay,
I think Kirk.
I'll go 10% because Kirk has proven, and this is what I was trying to say earlier. Kirk is looking out for Kirk, right? He has a track record of, I'm going to follow the money, I'm going to bet on myself, and I'm going to go where the contract takes me, where the money takes me.
Mhm.
And what I was trying to say earlier is I'm going to kind of take a Stephen A. Smith take here. If Kirk wasn't white, right? If he was a brother, no, listen. If he was a brother, the media would be going. It would be a circus on how Kirk is treating free agency and always chasing the money and doesn't have the drive or whatever to go for a Super Bowl. Doesn't do the hometown contract. Think about it though. I mean, think about it.
He doesn't have to do a hometown contract, but you would think him looking at DC, one, he knows this town, he knows the media, and I think he generally understands that at minimum 50% of the fan base would love to have him back. Minimum, right? I mean, he would be a significant upgrade, and I don't think anyone can doubt that or argue against it. What's working against it, however, like, yes, a lot of the people that he didn't like are gone, sure. The stadium is still terrible. The stadium is now without naming rights, which we can talk about that in a second. But he's got to look at this roster and say, this roster as it currently is constructed right now is a lot worse than the last team he played with here in DC. Like, there are a lot of holes, right? Unless they're using that number 2 overall pick on Harrison, which there's just no way they're going to do that. Like, yeah, they signed Zach Ertz, and I think that's actually it's fine. Great deal, right, for a fine player who doesn't miss a lot of time, right? And tight ends in Washington, D.C., Cooley was probably the last consistent tight end that I can recall, just always suiting up, always available, right? After him came, who was after Cooley? Before Jordan Reed, there was another one.
Fred Davis.
Oh, yeah, Fred Davis. Fred Davis couldn't read the playbook, and then there was somebody else I don't remember.
And then he had Vernon Davis.
Then Vernon Davis was serviceable, right? He was
solid.
He was like the AP at the position, right? He was fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Jordan Reed, super talented, but I mean, just couldn't stay healthy, couldn't stay on the field. And then it's been just Band-Aid ever since. So, like, Zach Ertz is a big upgrade at the position.
Well, you need a veteran presence in that.
Sure.
I think you're thinking of Zach Ertz of the Eagles, right? Zach Ertz hasn't played a full season since 2018.
Zach
That's
Ertz,
been 6 years.
That was with Cliff. His season with Cliff was pretty good.
I mean, it wasn't bad.
The bar is pretty low.
He was almost 1,000 yards and double digits.
I don't want to poo poo on what's his face on his way out. I'm blanking on his name.
Logan Thomas.
I always want to call him
poo poo all over
Wilson,
him. He's terrible.
Yeah. What? Well, I don't know. Did you see what they did? Did you see what they did on social media for him? It looked like he died. Did you see that? It was terrible.
Same with Leno.
Like how can that building in Ashburn be filled with so-called professionals that still can't get social media posts right. Like it literally looked like it was not a eulogy, but
He's dead to us.
memorial.
It's fair. He's dead to us.
Well,
He's gone.
I mean, it just
What I mean,
such
no,
no more D-League commentators talking about how we used to be a quarterback at Tech. I'm great. I don't want to hear that anymore.
yeah.
UVA,
I'm good with it.
not Tech. UVA.
Whatever.
Oh,
but it
Tech.
doesn't matter. No, UVA.
Pretty sure it's Tech.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
It's Tech.
I think you're right. I think it was Tech.
I think it's Tech.
I'm always right, baby.
I think it was Tech.
I think the most telling thing that we need to touch on right now is we have 23 players, I think, that are due to hit agency, and the team is not making any effort in any of like. There's wants a complete overhaul. There's nobody that is looking at it saying yes, you can or you should come back. One was Kendall, but if you look at the other friends out there, it makes sense to not sign. So much talent out there, running back, linebacker, safeties. There's so many agent talent there.
Yeah,
Actually, really that Peter's looking
all
at
I
the
hear
team
you
and
saying is that
no,
there are 23. There's 23 active players
Yeah,
and like 27 coaches on the
there's
roster.
a
That's
lot
what I
of
understand.
lot of holes to fill. I don't know why you're against how many coaches
There's
we
too
have.
many
It's
coaches.
a normal amount
I
of
also
coaches.
don't know what your
It's
internet.
a normal amount of coaches.
It just seems like it's excessive. It seems like a lot. And you know, I don't. The Cliff. I mean, look, we are the offseason champions. Like this is forever and ever true. Like don't like be honest here for a second. You're excited about this this coaching staff, like
Yes.
for no reason. Like we've never
Not
seen
for
them
no
actually
reason.
coach together ever. But you're excited.
Just resume to resume comparison of what Ron brought in and what Quinn brought in. You are doing significantly better just on your resume.
I agree with this statement.
Yeah,
but
You have more talented coaches.
I'm trying to pump the
Yeah,
brakes.
I
not
understand
be,
pump the brakes,
you know,
but when you see the product that was on the field for the last 4 years, it was very clear, it was very evident that the coaches were not coaching up these players. There was no improvement from 1 week to another. You didn't see Jamin Davis improve.
Cam Curl might be
You
the
didn't
only
see
exception.
Ford improve.
No, I mean you saw Quan Martin, who didn't even see the field the first like 5 weeks of the year. I mean, towards the end of the season, he was making plays. He was making interceptions. He was making plays.
Yeah,
Like
that's fair. But if you're a good coach,
Second round pick,
it
man.
shouldn't take you 6 weeks to get a guy that you drafted on the field.
oh, I agree 100%. I'm just saying to say that they never coached up anybody. I mean, it's not really
No, but that's
fair.
what I'm saying. How much of that was Quan just kind of figuring it out, talking to the other players, and self-coaching over some trash high school football coach that came in and told him what to do?
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know. But I do want to talk about this FedEx thing for just a second, right? FedEx was the primary driver behind the name change. And, you know, last week they pulled out of the naming rights agreement. So it's going to be Commander's Field now. Like, I mean, we can probably put together a brand and try to get it could be DTC Field for like the home opener or something for homecoming or whatever. But it's fascinating to me that in light of the Wizards and Capitals basically getting their deal wasn't even voted on. Like all the belly aching from Leonsis and Youngkin and all this stuff. And Stevie came on here as my boy's going to get it done and blah, 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 and all this stuff. If I recall, I think it was FP and myself that basically said, I think this is a ploy. I think he's just trying to get, you know, instead of 600 million or 700 million, he's going to try to get 800 million to retrofit MCI Center or Capital One. And that seems to be what's happening because they won't even put it to a vote in Virginia. But anyway, to say, that site, if you are the Commanders, if you are the new ownership group right now, and your name is and frankly, and Greg Youngkin, you can't get the Wizards and Capitals, and maybe this was a long con from the beginning. That site is perfect for the Commanders.
Is it big enough?
You're missing an important key, and that's that the bill passed that gave the site of RFK back to DC.
Yeah,
that's a huge bill that passed that puts it right in play to be the site of the new field.
Because
DC wants RFK to go to the football team,
and
they want it, and they just couldn't do it because it's federally owned.
I think the fans also of the team. I think if you like most of the fans commute from Virginia, but I think most of the fans want the team at RFK. Like, I think that is a true statement. I really do. Like, it is just if for nothing else, it's historic value. It's like what the Bears did with Soldier Field, right? When they moved and played their games at whatever collegiate stadium nearby while they retrofit Soldier Field. It was the same thing that the Packers did. It was the same thing that the Vikings did. Actually, you remember they played some of their games outdoors somewhere in Minnesota a couple seasons ago. I'm not blank. Maybe it was at the Minnesota Gophers.
It was University of Minnesota.
Yeah. So like I would commute gladly to RFK, and I think it's just because it's a historic site. Like that's kind of where the team is rooted.
It's also historic, but if you do a bird's eye view of DC, it's RFK Monument Capitol. Like it's laid out beautifully in DC, in the city, to be that right side of the city that just brings it all together, right?
Well, there's the infrastructure there to actually get 60, 70,000 fans in and out, metro,
right?
It's hotels. It makes sense. I don't think the Alexandria site is large enough for a football field.
I mean, imagine tailgating or having to drive to RFK and then shuttle in to see a game. That would be terrible. Nobody wants that. And the balls on Leonsis to come in and spike the ball like he scored before there was even a vote. It's crazy.
But that's why I think from the beginning they knew this was going to be an uphill, and they just presented it as something that was a done deal. And frankly, like it's not like, I mean, it's going to be a long time before people care about the Wizards. I mean, they just lost 16 in a row and snapped it tonight against the Hornets. Like they are like historically bad, and the Caps, like Ovi. He's picking up goals here at a quick pace, but
playoff push is alive.
But
they're still retooling,
trading.
You beat your rivals yesterday 6-0, so the team can function.
But then today they make a trade for one of the key pieces that's been on the roster for a while, right? In Kuzi. So,
that's a steal. We can get into it if you want to, but it's a steal. Kuzi wasn't going to be on the Caps. He went through waivers. Nobody claimed him. He dropped into the Bears, which is our farm team. And then the Hurricanes come in and they say, okay, we want Kuzi. And somehow we got a third-round pick out of it. The Hurricanes are idiots. Brian McClellan's a genius. I mean, that's a great
he knows what he's doing, for sure. He knows what he's doing. But, I mean, all this to say, like, all of this, like, hubbub, for a new stadium and this and that, like, the teams are just not good. Right, I mean,
all four teams, even the Nats. I mean, all four teams in DC right now are
like. If you think back to when this show started, all the teams were terrible, and then there was a lucky streak.
Lightning in a bottle.
Caps weren't terrible.
Well, they couldn't get out of the first round.
Yeah,
and then lightning in a bottle, and then you just get like competitive, name change and this and that. I mean, the Wizards have been terrible the whole time, but. I mean, the Wizards have been terrible since Gilbert left. I mean, let's be honest. I mean,
no. They had their one run.
I was gonna say, there's 2 or 3 seasons in there. Yeah, I remember watching them against the Celtics with you in where were we? Montreal, I think, for a wedding. But I mean, outside of 2 or 3 seasons with the Wall, Beal,
Porter, Oubre,
and Gortat, right? Like after that. It's been trash. And Gilbert,
and Pierce, you had Pierce.
Yeah. Did you call Glass? I called game. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
But even the Pierce year, that was probably the start of the downhill.
Yeah.
Well, my point, like, I don't know why I was. Well, I remember Gilbert is somebody I still follow, like on social, like through our DTC stuff. I actually love Gilbert, and he's a lot smarter than I think people give him credit for. Did you happen to hear his soundbite about how to fix the NBA?
I did. Yeah, that was I don't know.
I thought it was brilliant. FP, did you hear this? Did you hear the soundbite with Gilbert?
I heard a little bit of it. I think I agree 100%.
I think everybody agrees. If you really think of if you really look at what he's saying, you basically, for those that weren't following, it was a they were talking about the modern NBA and about anybody can score and there's no defense and You know, that it was all kind of a it was a larger discussion around how to fix the NBA, right? They were talking about the All-Star weekend and nobody plays defense, and even in the regular season, nobody's playing defense. And his take was, somebody asked him, like, how do you fix it? And he was like, just get rid of all your European players because they can't play defense. They can't jump. They can't run.
I mean, it hits home for the Wizards particularly.
Yeah. But I think he's right. I mean, what made a guy like Dirk so special when he came in the late 90s to the NBA and succeeded, right? Is that he changed his game. Like, he was a big guy. He was a 7-footer that could shoot threes, but he had to learn how to play defense, right? But the whole league now plays no defense. It's all Euro steps and travels and floaters and threes.
Yeah. When you look at Joker and Luka and all of those guys, there's
Joker,
no reason.
Is Joker, is he that good? Like, I hear this debate constantly, but Shaq would destroy him. Shaq would literally destroy him. Right? Yao Ming, could he cover
in the
Joker
post? He would, but
no way.
But Joker can shoot.
But Joker could take a step back and shoot and score over Shaq.
Okay, so if you play this era game, right? How does he stack up against like a Akeem Olajuwon? You can't guard him. There's no way.
But it's a different. I don't know. I don't think you can compare the errors.
I think you can compare errors. I think Gilbert's actually said this a bunch of times. He's like, people look at the 90s Bulls and they're like, oh, the dynasty and 90s Bulls and no one would have beat them. No, the 2000 Lakers would have beat them. The 2000 Lakers would still be marginally competitive in this current version of the NBA. But you go back to the 90s, like go back to the early 90s, right? Or the 80s before that. Like every team had like a rebounder and then a defensive stopper on the wing, and then one guy who was a 3-point specialist, and then one guy who handled the ball, and then one guy who scored all the points. Like Jordan, and this is the only argument I will ever make against Michael Jordan being considered like the greatest ever in light of Kobe and LeBron and whatever, right? His job on the Bulls was to take every shot, and he averaged 30-ish points a game. If he had to share the ball with a Kevin Durant or a LeBron or a Kobe or a Gilbert or even a Russell Westbrook, there wouldn't be enough shots for him to get to 30 points in the current NBA.
But that's also the difference. His and today's NBA is he didn't assemble all-star team. He need to sign the other big guys and get them on the floor with him. He did it himself and elevated the guys around. I mean, that's the end of the conversation, right?
Yeah, but I also don't think. I mean, Jordan was an elite defender. I think he would really struggle if he had to guard like prime Kobe or prime Durant or prime
by himself. Yes,
sure, yeah. Like Scotty handled a lot of the defense, but anyway, I mean, whatever. I just
although I would pay to see Rodman versus what's his face on the Warriors.
I think either way, it doesn't really matter. We can all agree that the modern NBA sucks.
Well, FP, you want to see them like box like your boy Jake Paul and Tyson?
That's going to be. We might have to have a watch.
We gotta get 20 in here. I can't believe he's not excited about this. Mike Tyson. I mean, I don't want anyone to die.
He's like 55 years old.
He might kill him.
Did you see him? Did you see him practicing?
I am obsessed with
training?
Mike Tyson. I see everything. Stevie sees everything. He sends me everything. I mean,
he's gonna punch a hole through Logan's
he's
chest.
He's literally gonna put a hole in his chest. I mean, there's no amount of money in the world that you could pay me to get in the ring with Mike Tyson. None. Zero.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna die. Like he's got a track record of killing people, like not killing.
I can't wait to see it.
Like he's chewed somebody's ear off in the ring. Like just think about this he's literally taking a bite out of someone's ear in the ring.
He's a crazy man.
Okay. And I mean, no. This fight is. I mean, I remember watching McGregor versus Floyd with our buddy 20, and going into it, he was like, "Oh, this is gonna suck." Whatever. It was an awesome fight. I still have it.
Highly technical fight. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, a couple times you see Connor's like leg come up, whatever. it'll be really interesting to see this, but this won't be competitive. I mean, nobody gets in the ring with Mike Tyson and comes out looking the same way. Like this is just bad. But
yeah, it doesn't matter how old Mike is. He still looks like a monster. We're losing LP though. This is basically talking about soccer to me.
We can talk about soccer. We could. Hey, have you been following?
Damn it.
We could talk soccer. We can definitely talk soccer. But hold on. But is anyone going to take Jake Paul? There's no way.
No.
There's no way. Like, I mean, I give him credit. Like he's turned into a solid boxer, but he's not Mike Tyson. He's not anyone.
I'm more intrigued. I'm more intrigued about Netflix doing live streams of events because this is like their third or fourth one. It's kind of interesting that they're kind of. They did like some. I think like the SAG Awards or something. They did a soccer game. I think.
Did they?
It's interesting though. They're doing some live streams for big events. It's an interesting field for them to get into.
So they're gonna put this on Netflix and it's gonna be free with anyone with a Netflix account?
I don't know if it's free.
Yeah, nobody knows that part yet. That part's.
But July 20th, live on Netflix is the advertisement. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean the line. There's no early lines on this too. I don't know if you guys look, but there's nothing. There's nothing. I don't think Vegas.
How do you even set? Yeah, how do you set the line on that?
I have no idea. Like, what do you do? How do you set a line on this? Like,
so then does the fight even happen?
Oh, for sure.
That's another question. Yeah,
it'll happen. It'll happen. There's too much money to be made. It'll happen.
Huge money grab. Yeah,
it'll happen. Do we want to talk about the Commanders in the second overall pick and what they're going to do, or do we want to pivot and talk? I mean, there's a zillion other things.
I mean, LP is the number one clickbait reader responder to every tweet, article, and hot take online. It doesn't matter which talking head is posting what stupidity. LP is eating it up. And you have Drake May being the worst, Drake May being the best, Jaden Daniels being the worst, Jaden Daniels being the best, and LP's taking it all.
What do you do at number 2?
I mean, you 100% go quarterback. Caleb Williams is going to be gone. You got to pick, May or Daniels. And
all right, who are you picking?
I mean, I flip every day.
I think I'm picking
Jaden. I think I'm picking Jaden because
Ron said so.
No, because
that should be the reason you don't pick him.
Because he's a game changer.
The line is going to be as bad as our line is going to be. You can't have a statue back there. I know May is athletic, but I don't know. Kind of think back to like, what if RG3 never busted a knee, right? Like, how good could we have been? You look at like Lamar Jackson and, I don't want to say Mahomes, but Mahomes and some of these other like mobile running quarterbacks, even Jalen Hurts to an extent. I mean, he's 6'4". He's not. I mean,
he's got
a small frame.
He's not wide.
Yeah, the RG3.
I look at him and he just looks like Bryce Young.
Yeah, but okay, but you also have Howell as your backup. Like,
so why not bring Daniels? Why not bring Sam Howell's best friend in?
And what I'm saying, if Jaden is your guy, and say he gets hurt for a game or two, like, can Sam Howell not go out there and win 2 games? Of course he can.
He could, but then you're just inviting QB controversy. The DC media. If Howell comes in and strings together 3 wins, nobody's going to want to go back to Jaden.
Not if Jaden has gotten rolled off 6 wins before that.
I don't know what you're looking at, man. I look at him and he just doesn't look big enough. He just doesn't look big enough. He doesn't look durable.
Listen,
it doesn't help that Peters wasn't big on him last year either. Like I appreciate,
but nobody was.
That's fine. But I appreciate that Cliff is going to have an opinion.
He won the Heisman, so he was on people's radar.
Didn't Manziel win the Heisman?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Everyone wins the Heisman.
Everyone wins the Heisman. No, I don't care about that.
No, that's like saying everyone wins the Super Bowl. No.
I need them to trade down. That's what I need. I need them to go down to like 7 or 8 and take and just start drafting offensive linemen and wide receivers.
What happens when you accumulate picks is what Ron did in these past 5 years.
Yeah, but Ron had the Martys. Didn't actually have any talent evaluators.
We still have the Martys.
I know, which is completely inexplicable why they're still employed. I don't know what value they provide.
They were salesmen for themselves.
What's
They
Mayhew's
probably
title?
said I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think he's not in scouting or anything like that.
Locker room fluffer. I don't know what he does.
I don't know.
I mean,
what his title
I
is.
don't think the Martys are picking who they're going to pick.
Maybe he's Doug Williams' handler. Who cares?
Where is Doug Williams? Where's your boy Jason Wright? Where's this guy? What's that guy's job now?
He
Ah,
came out and said we're not going to change the name and we're not going
He's
to
still
probably
president.
be in a new field by 2027.
President of Business Ops.
Something like that. Yeah, but I don't know. Until Kirk is signed, I'm holding out 2% hope that maybe you can get him to come back. Maybe.
Well, did you see when he congratulated Grant and Danny on their 10-year anniversary? He said he said something. This was like back in January. He said something along the lines of maybe we'll reconvene in DC at the end of my career or something crazy like that. But
well, he used to do the weekly hits with them when he was the backup to RG3.
He did it for 3 years.
Yeah, he did it for a long time. But
those guys are plugged in. So I mean, if you hear rumors from them
let's just play
about
fantasy GM for a second. If you could get Kirk around, let's say 35 a season for 3 seasons, if you could, and you knew that he was willing and you got him locked in, you could use the second pick at that point on Harrison. You could.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
And it would be a good move, and the team would
awesome.
be able to compete right away.
Move. It's an awesome move because you're significantly upgrading quarterback, and you're significantly upgrading. Like you're talking about.
Listen,
Harrison,
I love Kirk.
Hold on.
You're gonna,
Harrison, McLaurin,
on the coaching
Dotson,
side. You have to pump it on Kirk.
That's really good. I mean, nothing stops him actually from signing Saquon too.
He's still 36 years old and coming off from an Achilles. You still don't know.
He'll be
Does
fine.
anyone else kind of want Derrick Henry?
I would love to have Derrick Henry. Big
1,000%.
Yeah.
Henry or Swift. Did you see?
Yes.
You see his locker room off-season workouts? The guy is a monster.
Even if
Derrick Henry versus Mike Tyson, I would take Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Even if he's
That's
not
how
as
big of
fast
a
as he
monster
was,
he is.
I would absolutely want him here because he can play all 3 downs. He can pick up a blitz. He can help. Like he can just
and he just trucks people.
And he trucks people.
Change
right?
of pace with B-Rob would be beautiful.
But Saquon, like there's actually a lot of running backs that are going to be available, right? A lot.
We're
right?
actually
Josh
I heard
Jacobs.
we were favorites for Jacobs. I heard.
I don't mind that either. But I'm just saying, like if you're going into week 1 with, an upgraded offensive line, which anything is better than what we had, but you've got Kirk, Jahan, Terry, Harrison, Ertz, and then maybe Derrick Henry. Like it does have shades of like Redskins '99, where it's just like grabbing everybody you can. But I don't know. That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I love Terry, and he is highly respectable and job first mentality and all of that. But I think it rubs him the wrong way if you bring in Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he would want out after this season if he knows he's not the guy.
It's fine. He can go. He's not a 1-1.
He's not a diva.
He's not an elite receiver yet.
He's not a 1-1.
But do you want to? But I mean,
no.
There's a little bit of respect you have to pay
I don't
the
see it
guy.
happening because then what do you do with Dotson? You put him in the slot. That's not his role.
I mean, whatever. Figure it out.
Dotson just stays your wide receiver too.
Doesn't the air raid have like 5 wide receivers?
No,
5 wide
but
sets? Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Fine.
There's also rumors that Cliff wants to play with Brown Ravens once we let go of
I mean, it's all possible. Well, what do we know?
The point is a lot of money that we have to spend and a lot of that we have to do. So
I mean, it's
a lot of draft outside of number 2 overall. We still have a lot of drafts, and you're probably going to get a third for was it for Kendall? If he takes Kendall, lose him. You get
possibly
third comp.
Yeah, that's possible. That's possible. All right, LP. Any final thoughts?
DC United, with the horrible season last year, right? Hired Troy Lesane, who took the Red Bulls.
You have to be their
interim head coach last year. They were the bottom of the league, got them into the playoffs.
You're DC United only fans.
They won.
LP asked
That
me
was
if
funny.
I'd be down to go to a DC United game for him, and it was the same of asking me if I was down to like go have an invasive surgery. Like it was the same. I was like, it was a painful thought to have.
Why?
You don't want to go see the national team play? Why not? At FedEx or Commander's Field.
No,
versus
the
Columbia.
national team, I'd be down, and 100%. We have to book a World Cup. Ticket.
Yeah, but friendlies are friendlies. I mean, friendlies are. I mean, it's like going to a preseason game. Oh, I don't want. I'd rather go to DC United game.
This is a wild take coming from the only person that watches DC United.
Look, Benteke had a hat trick in his first game.
Nobody
Didn't
knows
play
who
the
these
second
people
game.
are,
I mean, I know who it is, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They stink.
They were down 2-0 to Portland last week in Portland.
Oh my God.
Came back in the 70th minute and tied the game.
I mean,
right?
you want to talk about
Down
real?
2 goals.
We could talk about Arsenal. We could talk about West Ham. We could talk about what's going on across.
No,
the
no one can watch soccer at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning.
It's the best.
No,
It's
we
the
got
best.
we have
I will
activities
say
and
there's
stuff like
something
that.
about
that.
about just European leagues. I started watching the Netflix documentary, The Formula One Drive to Survive. I am 200% obsessed with Formula One driving now, and I'm gonna wake up to watch the race Sunday morning. It's like 7 a.m. I'm so intrigued by it. It's in like Saudi Arabia.
You're not gonna wake up at 7 a.m.
Yeah, I might be going to sleep at 7 a.m. But
I don't know. I've tried with the racing. I don't know.
There's so many storylines.
There's something that makes me not respect something that I can do. Does that make sense?
You cannot race a Formula One car.
But I can drive a car. But I can drive a car.
Very, very fast.
Yeah,
you can't drive a Formula One car.
By your driving record.
I can make.
Have you seen?
I can make 50 left turns. I can do that.
It's not that's not Formula One. Formula One is left and right turns.
Okay. I'm just saying, like I can't go dunk basketball, right? Like, there's something about sports, like it needs to be stuff that you like normal people can't do, but normal people can drive a car.
Not like
that
Formula
fast.
One racers.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll tell you, I went to the track with someone who is a amateur driver out in West Virginia, and sat in the car with them, and to see like how they do the angles and all that. I mean, there's some skill to it.
Yeah. FP, any final thoughts?
I like the comment that just popped up. Whatever Ron Rivera says, do the opposite.
Yeah. Why this guy's on TV? I mean, talk about.
If he says go Jaden, yeah, I want Drake May.
Well, he did say go Jaden.
Yeah, so I want.
I don't want either. I don't want either of them. I think
I've been watching
too high on both of them.
Dude, Ron's probably
said
the first name that came to his mind. There's no way he's watched tape on any of them.
For sure.
That's true.
He probably doesn't even know that he's been fired from the Commanders yet.
I mean, it's like, if I ask you, do you like red or blue? Right? Like, what's the first thing that pops in your mind? Like
red. Always red. Team red. Did you watch State of the Union? Should we talk about that? I'll save that for Stevie.
I watched it. It was funny.
It was funny.
I was not expecting Joe to be that awake and angry.
Why doesn't he have pupils? Why are there no pupils anymore? Like, I feel bad for the guy. The cataracts are so, just liquid, dark, just black eyeballs. Like, it's just.
Also, Kamala is sitting behind her. The entire State of the Union, it looks like she was holding in a fart. Her facial expression just looked like she was uncomfortable and holding in a fart.
All right, boys. All right. The offseason is upon us. We're 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks from the NFL draft. I still believe that there will be a trade. I think they will trade. I think they will trade down. I think
next week we're gonna have to do a show because tampering. Right?
Yeah. I love tampering. Tampering starts next week, but they already signed Zach Ertz, so someone figure that out.
No, Zach Ertz was released. That's why.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't on a roster.
It'll be. I mean, look, they've got real decisions to make with Cam Curl, and if nothing else, like they're gonna have to make a decision. Like, I don't know if he's worth 14 to 16 million. That's a big number for him. Even though I know he's seventh round pick and he's been great, but That's a big number. And there's a ton of safeties. There's a ton of them.
Yeah, they're saying that the safety market's depleted, right? And none of the safeties are going to get big market deals. So a lot of them are probably going to do 1-year deals, short-term deals. And I could see Cam coming back on a 1-year deal. But I mean, not at 14
But do
million.
you want him back?
I would want him.
I mean,
Upgrades out
if
There's
you have
upgrades out there.
$93 million in cap space, yeah, you got to spend it somewhere.
Well, and keep in mind,
Yeah, but-
this is the first season where they have not just a ceiling, but they also have a floor. So you do legitimately have to spend the money. Like you can't just hold it. So
I'd
We'll
like
see.
to see it on the offensive line, but
but it's not like you can just go out and grab a left tackle. Like the good ones never become available, right? Like that's why you've got to draft quarterbacks. You've got to draft offensive linemen because you can legitimately get every other position in free agency, and that's been proven time and time again. You cannot get quarterback consistently in free agency, and if you do, you're overpaying for underperformance. And with the offensive line, you're always going to overpay for underperformance because the good ones get locked up for a career. Like, we talk about Clay Travis saying always draft a quarterback. I mean, you should always be drafting a left guard, like always. Left tackle, you mean? Left tackle. Like, because if you get one, you're set for. I mean, we've seen it here in DC how many times?
You can get guards and centers in free agency. It's much harder to get tackles. There's like I think one good tackle out there from Cincinnati.
Well, the Jags are rumored to be potentially releasing Brandon Sheriff. Right, bring him back. He was great. Bring him back. We should have never let him go. So we'll see. Thank you, boys, for making time. FP, it's good to see you. LP, it's good to see you as well. My name is Joe. The show is DTC, available wherever you get your podcasts. Just search DTC or type in Defeating the Curse. Until next week, or maybe next week. For now, we are out.